48 Laws of Power is a best-selling book by Robert Greene. Greene argues that there are 48 essential laws for understanding power. For each law, he provides examples of those who followed it, those who didn't, and the outcomes. Today we'll focus on the first law, never outshine the master. Watching this video will show you how important it is to follow this law in sports, and the consequences of those avoiding it.
History made emphatically the best regular season ever as the Warriors finish 73-9 and stand alone with the best record in NBA history.
If you're a basketball fan, you know the story. The 73-9 Warriors were practically unstoppable, and they almost cemented themselves as the best, but
Clay said, I guess he just got his feelings hurt.
no one could have predicted LeBron and the Cavs winning that series. However, after the Warriors lost, they had an answer.
Stephen A., the news again coming in moments ago, Kevin Durant heading to the Golden State Warriors. How are you viewing this move from Durant?
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it.
Former MVP and superstar Kevin Durant joined them, and when he joined, they won a championship.
Your Bill Russell 2017 Finals MVP, Kevin Durant.
And then they went back-to-back.
Kevin Durant way outside, delivers! Kevin Durant from downtown, it's a 6-point game.
They seemed unstoppable, but before they could get the three-peat, things unraveled.
And DeMarcus Cousins limping.
Tacking.
Runs right into his teammates going over to check on him. So obviously needs help up. Danny Green's just trying to block that shot. That, as you said, Jeff, is not.
For one, the Warriors dealt with multiple injuries this series, and unfortunately this led to them losing.
We the North are now we the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
But soon after, KD left the Warriors. Now, why would he leave? Was it just the injuries, or was it something deeper? Early in the season, during a game against the Clippers, we witnessed a pivotal moment in the Warriors' hierarchy.
Again, down to 3. Iguodala stayed down. That's almost an air ball. It ticked iron. They don't use a timeout at 3. Draymond at 2. They got to get a shot off, and they don't.
With seconds left in the tie game and no Steph Curry on the floor, Draymond Green, a reliable role player but definitely not their clutch shooter, grabbed the ball. And instead of passing to the obvious option KD, he dribbled down into the whole Clippers team and turned the ball over. Tensions exploded on the bench. And if you're wondering what Draymond told KD, it wasn't good. This wasn't just trash talk. It was Draymond refusing to acknowledge Durant as the master of the team. KD was the two-time Finals MVP, the player they needed to secure those rings, but Draymond, threatened by KD's presence, broke the first law of power, trying to outshine him. And for KD, this moment revealed that his contributions weren't valued, leaving him with no incentive to stay.
Because I don't recall an answer to this question. Did that play a role in you leaving Golden State?
A little bit, yeah, for sure.
You want to expand on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, your teammate talked to you that way, you think about it a bit, but you know, we talked. Like I said, we talked about it, but definitely, for sure, I'm not gonna lie about it.
Now let's hear Draymond and KD discuss it.
So just for my own personal sanity, how much did our argument against the Clippers drive you to ultimately lead the Warriors?
It wasn't an argument. It was the way that everybody, Steve Kerr act like it didn't happen, Bob Myers and tried to just discipline you and think that that would put the mask over everything. I really felt like that was such a big situation for us as a group. The first time we went through something like that, we had to get that shit all out. I remember watching The Last Dance, and when Scotty didn't go into the game, the whole team in the locker room said, Scotty, that was fucked up that you did that. I don't think we did that and we tried to dance around it. I just didn't like how all of that, just the vibe between all of that, it just made shit weird to me.
When Draymond confronted KD about that play, KD kept his response cool. But what he really wanted was for Draymond to be called out and held accountable. KD had come to Golden State and delivered 2 championships as Finals MVP. He was the guy, the new leader. But instead of backing him, the team brushed off Draymond's actions, almost like they agreed with him, and for KD, that stung. He'd taken a huge risk to join them and made them a better team, but it felt like they weren't giving him the respect he'd earned.
They said, all right, you slept on it, you ready to apologize. And I told them right then and there, I said, y'all about to fuck this up. I said, the only person that can make this right is me and Kay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing that y'all can do, and y'all are going to fuck this up. And in my opinion, they fucked it up.
I think so too.
And they told me right then and there, like, we're going to suspend you for this game. I laughed in their face, literally laughed in their face.
It's obvious from his words that Draymond never took KD's point seriously. Even with time to reflect after KD leaving now, he still doesn't take accountability, doubling down instead. KD saw this before as a major red flag. After that argument, he probably realized this wasn't going to work long term. And sure enough, that crack in their dynamic eventually split the team apart. If Draymond had put his ego aside and respected KD's role, maybe the Warriors could have gone on to win even more championships. But instead, he tried to outshine KD, and it cost them. These are the consequences of transgressing the first law. Never outshine the master.
The truth of the matter is, he's helped me out a great deal. I asked him for advice, he'd give me advice straight from his heart.
I've always been, like a big brother and you like a little brother.
Vintage Kobe, vintage Michael Jordan.
A lot of people may say Kobe and Mike are great examples of never outshining the master. Kobe looked up to Mike, learned from him, and never tried to overtake his legacy. But I don't think that's the best example, because honestly, Kobe couldn't really top MJ even if he tried. So instead, let's look at another duo. Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev. Khabib, the undefeated champ from Dagestan, is widely considered one of the greatest MMA lightweights of all time. For years he dominated the division, racking up wins and title defenses. Finally, after his father passed away, he retired in 2020.
I promise her, it's gonna be my last fight.
And during all this, Islam was right there by his side, training, learning, and quietly working his way up in the same division. Islam would be in Khabib's corner as a coach for his fights, and Khabib did the same for him. But Islam never tried to one-up Khabib. He respected him as the master and kept a low profile, learning everything he could. Islam even suffered a loss early in his UFC career, which kind of reinforced the gap between him and Khabib, who remained undefeated. But Islam knew his time would come. Sure enough, after Khabib retired, Islam worked his way to the top, and 2 years later, he beat Oliveira to become the lightweight champion. Now, with 3 title defenses, he's starting to cement his own legacy, just like Khabib. In his latest fight, Islam faced Dustin Poirier, a guy Khabib also beat. And who was there in his corner? Khabib, the original master, coaching him to victory.
Honestly, Islam, the things I learned against Khabib that I've never felt before, Islam did a lot of that. And
see, this is what happens when you follow the law. Stay humble, bide your time, and when your moment comes, you can make your mark, with your old master right there to support you. But whatever you do, don't ever try to outshine the master. Instead, learn from them, stay humble, and when the time is right, your own success will follow. So what's the takeaway? Whether it's in sports, work, or any social dynamic, knowing when to step back and respect those above you can be crucial. Challenging or outshining them can bring unnecessary conflict and hinder your own progress. On the other hand, honoring the master can lead to lasting success, where you may one day become a master in your own right. If you like this breakdown of the 48 laws of power in sports, let me know your thoughts and examples in the comments below.